Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about the real reason why Eve and Erika was fired from the Underworld franchise series. So, if you've ever watched the Underworld franchise, you will realize one thing. People who are still alive disappear completely from the franchise with no explanation whatsoever. Even when some of those people have a huge plot device in the series, and it just completely ends abruptly and stuff. And this is what happened to two characters. One is a minor character from the first movie, but she plays pretty much a significant role. She's kind of like a plot device to keep the main character, the antagonist, and the love interest keep going. And then there's another character from the fourth movie who it has like a major role in the development for each movie that's going to come out afterwards, if they were to get a sequel and stuff. And so for the longest time, many people have asked themselves, what happened to these two characters? Well, technically three, but he's keeping type-lived. But a lot of people have been wondering, okay, what happened to these two characters? They just like disappeared out of nowhere. And then as I'm just like strolling around on Twitter today, I follow one of the actresses that was in the first movie. Well, actually, I follow both, but I follow one that was in the first movie. And as I'm like looking down on her feed, I see something pop up, and somebody asked her a question about where her character went after the first movie. I could not believe the answer she gave. And this is her real account. This is not like no fake account. No, like, this is her real account. And I believe what she says. And the thread gets very, very interesting because she's dropping major tea on who pretty much got her fired from the show. Because think about it. Her character was written off. Therefore, she basically got fired. And so did the other actress. And it was one actress, one person in that movie franchise that caused all of it, who whispered in the director's ear to where he obliged and got rid of them. And that person is none other than Kate Beckinsale. Yes! The lead of the movie franchise herself decided she didn't want them in her movies no more. And so she talked to the director, who was just a director in the first movie, but then ended up becoming her boyfriend afterwards and her husband later on. And now her divorced husband now. And he did what she wanted. Wow. And I believe these actresses too. Because why would they lie? They have nothing to gain from this. They still make movies. They still make TV shows. They have nothing to gain. So why would they lie? You know what I'm saying? So it's a pretty interesting read and everything. So first, let's get into the first actress from the first movie. But before I start, let me just say I do like Kate Beckinsale as an actress. You know, Underworld put her on the map. But then, oddly enough, a lot of her other movies just didn't do too good. And then I watched her in Click, where she was just basically just a wife. And I watched her in that first Amazon show she was in, which was really boring. I had to stop watching after like 2 episodes. She has another Amazon show, a dark comedy, but I've never watched it. But yeah, I do like her as an actress. After it's funny because like I thought like she seemed like a pretty like cool actress and everything. You hear so much great stuff about her. But this is like very disappointing and makes you think about her completely different too. And it's just like, why would she do this? Now there's some speculations. I'll get to that later. But it's like I just don't get it. Like. I just don't. This is just like this has to be like either like an ego trip or like a jealousy thing or just like she doesn't get along with females or something. Like it's something, but nobody knows what exactly. And it's like I still like her as an actress, but I just look at her differently now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like she's shady and everything. And I do believe these actresses, by the way. It's just like I said before, why would they lie? And it's funny because these two actresses, they don't know each other. They was in two completely different movies, but yet their answers are pretty interesting, you know? The first actress is Sophia Miles, and she played Erica in the first movie. Now, Erica had a very small role in the first movie. She was basically the vixen and stuff, right? Um, Celine pretty much, she had like, here's the thing. She's kind of, okay, Erica's kind of like a lower level vampire. She's not a death dealer. Um, she's not a scientist. Um, let's see. She's not an elder. She's not a warrior. Trying to think of the other positions in their vampire order. She isn't somebody who like takes over. She's basically just like a civilian in the vampire ranks. You know what I'm saying? And so like she uses her street smarts to get ahead in like the order. I don't know if she was born a vampire or was human before, but like pretty much it's like this. There are three elders in the vampire order, and they all have their own coven. And so, like, they're the rulers, right? So what they do is, so they don't all like rule over each other. Two of them go to sleep, and one's awake. Then a couple of centuries pass, and then that one goes to sleep, and then the other one wakes up and stuff like that, right? And when they go to sleep, see, their covens are at different locations around the world. And so when they sleep, they put somebody in charge. Craven is one of the people that's in charge of Victor's coven. And and Craven, so what Erica did was she decided she's gonna get close to him and everything, right? So she's basically like his girlfriend, his mistress, stuff like that. And so that's how she gets higher up in the ranks. So, you know, since she's his girl and everything, people not gonna mess with her. But then there's Celine. Celine's a death dealer. Celine pretty much does what she wants. And Craven loves Celine to death. He messes around with Erica, but he wants Celine. But she will not let him have her and stuff. That pisses Erica off. So that makes her like a vixen to Celine. Now, one thing that Erica does that's very important into the first movie is like when Celine rescues Michael Corvinus or Corvin or whatever his name is. Celine doesn't know he's been bitten by a werewolf, a lichen, and so like when Erica finds out she brought a human to like their mansion, she realizes that Celine has not turned him yet. So she wants to turn him herself. Plus, she just wants to drink some blood. But then she discovers he's been bit by a werewolf. And what does she do? She uses that to her advantage. She lets both Celine and Craven know at the same time. This pisses off Craven. Craven was already pissed off because a human was in his house. And he's even more pissed off that it's a lichen in the house. Now, when Victor does get awakened, it's Celine who wakes him up. And so she uses her blood to wake him up. Now, in this franchise, when you drink somebody's blood, you can see their memories and stuff. And he saw all the stuff that's been going on with like Craven and Michael and the lichens and all this stuff. So he's pissed. She's pretty much grounded. So what happens? What does Erica do? She turns off the power, sets off the alarm for distraction so that Celine can escape. And so when that happens, Celine can go run after her little lichen boyfriend and stuff. Well, not really her boyfriend, just her love interest, because she likes Michael and stuff. And Celine asked her straight up, why are you helping me? She's like, I'm not. I'm helping me. See, by getting rid of Celine, then Craven will no longer lust after her and stuff. So she uses her street smarts and stuff, right? So she was a really interesting character, even though she had a very tiny role. She kept helping the plot move forward and stuff. And then so at the end of the movie, she's alive. Come the second movie. let's see, it's William and Marcus. Okay, so Marcus comes back to his coven, and he pretty much kills all the like security guards in sight and Craven, and then he burns the place, right? But when he burns the place, we don't know who all made it out. We assume Erica made it out. It makes logical sense. Now, since the first movie, Erica has never appeared in any of the other four movies, and not even in the anime, because there are 5 movies total and 1 anime short. And Erica has never been back. Period. I think they show like a archive scene of her in the second movie. That's just archived from the first movie. And a stand-in. So it's kind of like, where has she been? Because like she could have played a role in like the second movie because Craven showed up and Selena's still alive. She could have been in the prequel movie, which was the third one, but wasn't. She could have showed up in the 4th or the 5th movie, but she didn't. And it's revealed why she never returned. So the fan asked her pretty much, I'm not gonna read word from word, I'm just gonna like paraphrase what happened. So he pretty much asked her, like, you know, he's been wondering whatever happened to her character. Is she still alive? She states that Erica is very much alive, and she's been curious just like everybody else as to what happened to her character because she just disappeared without a trace. And she revealed that the director, Lynn Wise, who is the ex of Kate Beckinsale, that he revealed to her a few years ago that Kate didn't want her back in the second movie, or at least didn't want her character in the second movie or third movie, and so on and so on. So she was pissed when she found this out because so she said that the Underworld fans would be very shocked to find that out. And yeah, and there were other people who were replying and stuff, and they were just as shocked as like, you know, everybody else. And they could not believe that Kate was all like, nah, I don't want her in that movie. And so like, it's so shocking and stuff. And then what makes it worse? So she says pretty much like she thought Kate was a cool person, but realized that she isn't. And because of course, you know, Kate was, like I said, nobody knows what was going on between Kate and Lynn during the first movie when she was with Michael Sheen. But that's just her business, you know what I'm saying? But she got in his ear when they started dating for sure. And he obliged and he wrote Erica out. And then it's just like, now it comes to the other character. Now the other character, Eve. She had a major role in the 4th movie, right? She's played by India Elsley. God, I can't pronounce her last name. I've mentioned her before in that show that Patty Jenkins created. So basically with her character, Eve. Several years passed after the second movie because the third movie was a prequel that showed how everything happened. Everybody in the third movie died, so they would never show back up. Well, that's just a flashback. And so, like, in the 4th movie, it's been several years, about 12 or so like that. 12, 13 years since the second movie. And humans have now found out about vampires and werewolves, and the purging has happened. So Celine and Michael are going to get out of there, out the country, and go someplace else. Now, Michael is played by a stand-in in this movie because Scott Speedman, for whatever reason, didn't want to come back. And so they get separated, and she gets put in cryo chamber. So let's see. That's the beginning part. The beginning part happened probably like a few months or a year, a couple of months or a year after the second movie. So then she gets put in cryo sleep, and she's in there for about 12 years and stuff. She wakes up, and she's been enhanced since the second movie. And so, like, because of that, she has these new powers and stuff. And she's able to see through somebody's eyes who just escaped. She assumes it's Michael, so she tracks that person down. It's a teeny tiny little girl, a 12-year-old girl. And that's Eve. She realizes the reason why she can see through Eve's eyes and everything, they share the same blood. That is her daughter. Now, the actress was 18 at that time, but she played like a 12-year-old girl. The girl has like the fountain of youth face. Okay. She's in her 20s and now she looks like she's 18. So anyway, so that was a major plot because like the scientists captured Celine. They took the baby out of her because Celine didn't even know she was pregnant. Took the baby out of her, experimented on stuff like that. She's a hybrid. So um, what's interesting is that that character could have moved the franchise forward, right? There could have been sequel after sequel after sequel because towards the end, because the werewolves are for the first time the villains in these movie franchises in the fourth movie. So after that, they're both gonna go look for Michael and everything. However, something odd happened in the fifth movie, Underworld Blood Wars. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like the fourth one either. The fourth movie was kind of like lackluster, boring, but the action was the only thing good with the fourth movie. The best movies are the first three. And so like the fifth movie, people do not like that movie. It was weird, man. It was just like all of a sudden she's wearing like a white like trench coat, jacket, coat thingy. There's a new coven of vampires that appeared out of nowhere in the fourth movie, and it's just kind of like, no, there are three. So where does this other coven come from? And then there's a new character, a male character that gets introduced in the fourth movie. I think his name is Theo, something like that. And then the movie franchise, this was weird. Before the fifth one came out, it was stated that the fifth movie was supposed to focus on Theo, and Kate was like gone because she didn't want to do no more movies. She literally said she's made enough and she's done. But for whatever reason, she came back for the fifth. Theo is still a big part, and it turns out Theo is the son of Amelia, one of the elder vampires from the three covens. So I guess maybe that's like her coven they just didn't know about or whatever. So anyway, she gets like some new powers and her hair turns white and it's just a weird movie. And a lot of people have literally forgotten that movie. But one thing that people have not forgotten is that in the fifth movie, Eve is nowhere to be found. It's kind of, I don't know if they even mentioned her daughter in that movie. It's been a long time since I saw it. I only saw it one time. And so the question a lot of people asked was, where is Eve? That's Celine's daughter. So then that fan told her that he talked to India online one time and he asked her the same thing. Why wasn't she in like the fifth movie? He says that she said that ask Kate. Oh my God. She wouldn't even give a real answer. She just gave like a bleak statement. Just ask Kate. And so, yeah, so it's kind of like ask Kate, and that pretty much tells you what's up. She did the same thing she did to like Sophia and everything. She must have talked to the director and said she didn't want this girl in her movie no more, which was really shocking because that, like, okay, Erika, you know, even though she had a minor role, she was still significant. But you can like even if she was to like leave, it wouldn't really change that much. But Eve changed like a lot. You know what I'm saying? When she disappeared, and so like to get rid of her, because she's basically the second main character now, and to get rid of her just like out of nowhere was just odd. And it's just like, why? Why did she do that? Because there are like bloopers on like YouTube and I think on the DVD. And you see India, she's like forgetting some of her lines. And I think somebody trips. I don't know if it was Kate. I think Kate trips and everything. But every time India will forget her lines, you will see Kate being like supportive and everything and be like, you know, it's okay. But then one time you see her kind of look a little irritated. And so maybe that could have been it. Now, see, this is what I speculate. I've noticed something about this movie franchise. Okay, all the characters that are dead, like I said before, they don't really show up unless it's in the flashback, but for the most part, they don't show back up. Even if they do show up, it's mostly the male characters that show back up. Amelia is the only main female, like, supporting character that showed back up. She showed back up in the second movie for that flashback because they wanted all the elders in the same like spot, something we never saw in the first movie, right? Now, Amelia had a very, very, very tiny role in the first movie. The woman who plays Amelia, she's mainly just a model. She does some acting here and there. I don't know how much, but she's mainly just a model. And so when she showed up in the first movie, it was just to get off the train and then get bit and she dies. That's it. That's all you see of her. She comes in, like, well, she walks into the train and, and she looks up, and then the next scene, she's on the ground and she's dying. In the second movie, she has more to do. She actually gets to say something in the second movie. She actually gets to like use her crossbow and ride a horse and all that other stuff, right? But then, oddly enough, she did not show up for the fifth movie. You think she would because that's her son. So you think there'll be some kind of flashback. Well, there was in archive footage from the first movie. And so, like, I've noticed something. Most of the males, they come back and stuff, right? What is it? Victor, he came back for the second one in the flashback, and he came back full time in the third one. Even though that weird thing happened between Kate and Michael Sheen and Liz Wise, even Michael Sheen came back for the third movie, but Kate was not in the third movie. She just did like a voiceover, I think, towards the end or something like that. Or they used her archive footage or something. And so, yeah, so he showed up for the third movie, and the third movie was not directed by Lynn. It was directed by somebody else. And so, and of course, Scott Speedman left. I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, Kate doesn't like sharing like the attention, or better yet, so she doesn't like sharing like a movie franchise with another female. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know that for sure, because a lot of people are like that, especially women. If most of the time, like when there's a woman and she's the main lead of a show or a movie, they don't like having other females overshadow them, especially when they look just as good as them and everything. Because then people take their attention off the lead and go to like the others and stuff. And this happens in Hollywood like a lot. You know what I'm saying? Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.